What's good, y'all? I'm your host, and this is the Tier List of Video Game Podcast. It's a seasonal video game podcast where a guest brings a game for the titular tier list. We talk about it, rank it, but you, the audience, get to say where it's placed by the end of the season. This is Season 1, Episode 5. We're making our way to the end here, having a good first season so far. And my guest today is Jill Grodt. So Jill, tell everyone what you do and what game you brought.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jill. I run the Indie Informer. It is a website all about indie games that are coming up, indie games that are catching your eye, anything you should know about for the future. I have a couple of really cool anticipated lists that are up right now because we've just started January, but January's been wild already. So I've got a lot of coverage of games that have just come out. But today we are going back a bit further, and I don't even want to think about how much further it is because I was thinking about when this game came out, and to me this game only came out a few years ago. But it's been like 8 years, I think, if I'm doing the math correctly, because it's 2026.
It is 26. In my mind, it's still 25, but no, it is 26. What I'm saying. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And in my head, I'm always like, oh, it's kind of 2020, always. Because we never left the horrors. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we are talking about one of my favorite games of all time, Tunic.
All right, very good. So some more plugs real quick. Go to patreon.com/thetierlist. There's a free tier there where you can vote. So after we talk, we place it on our tier list, S down to D. You can make a vote and tell us where you all think it goes. Thank you to Patreon producer Manly Brian. Shout out to Brian. That's my guy. He didn't put his name as Manly Brian, Jill, but I just think it's funny to give him that. That's his nickname from an old podcast he used to do. So I never let it go. Yeah.
It's the only it's the only name when you're introduced to someone and you know that is their name. It's like I have this conversation every time with most of Game Informer, but for Ben Hansen, and I had to really think about what his first name was, because for anybody who knew Hansen for a very long time as a Game Informer fan or working there, his only name was Hansen, and they keep saying "Oh, you know Ben Hansen at MinMax," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yes, you're." Or sometimes they'll just be like, "Oh, you know Ben." I'm like, I have no idea. I've never met a Ben in my entire life.
I only know a Hansen. I don't know who you people are talking about.
I don't know who this Ben is. Hansen, 100%.
That's so funny. Make sure to sub and review on all your podcast services. Follow on socials at Adam Gumby or at Tier List Gaming to keep up with me or the show. Go to youtube.com/Adam Gumby. All these links as well as the guest information are in the description below, as long as a link to a straw poll, which is just another free way to vote. So description has all that fun stuff. So, Jill, you've brought Tunic for the tier list.
I have. I'm bringing the Tunic.
I see Mr. Tunic back there. I want
Mr. Tunic was his father.
I want you to tell me why you picked the game, history with it, just whatever the reason that you wanted to bring it, basically, and then where you're thinking it should be placed on the list. You have the rankings in front of you. You don't have to keep it here, but just where you're thinking and the reason you brought it.
So I'm going to start out by saying there's a correct answer to where to put this on the list, everybody. So get your voting ready to go because this is an S tier game. There's nowhere else it belongs. It is a masterclass of video game creation. And there are a lot of reasons for that. And we're going to be talking, first and foremost, I want to talk about the fact that this game is talking about it in any sort of substantial way is spoiling it. It is that kind of game. So if you've not played Tunic yet, hit pause right now. Go play it. It's amazing. It is a wonderful game on so many different levels. You should go play it because once you know the magic, once you know some of the things, then you are missing out on what makes this game so incredibly powerful, because part of it is the aha moments that you get to experience yourself. And if you don't experience them, then there's no point. There's no point. Well, I mean, it's still a good game, but.
All right, very good. Yeah, I agree as well. Oh, we'll get there. Yeah, diatribe. You're talking about things that you need to enjoy them for the first time, and that's the experience is doing it for the very first time. And there's always that question, if you could erase something from your mind.
Yes.
So why is my
You and I are right here.
we're right there. Why is it every time someone says that I'm like iRobot. I need to not know the twist in iRobot to enjoy that movie. I don't know why it's the first thing.
Interesting.
It's a broken brain. But anyways, continue with talking about this amazing game.
I'm ready to go off on a tangent and be like, how is all of our childhood and like early adulthood stories about AI taking over and being terrible and destroying us, and then we're where we are. But that's neither here nor there. Or is it? Bum bum bum. Tunic, we're getting back. So yeah, spoilers, be prepared. My first introduction to Tunic, I want to say, was there was an Xbox showcase very, very early. I think it was 2016. That showed this game off, and it was like, oh, there's a cute fox, and that's very lovely. It looks gorgeous. But then I was perfect set of circumstances, found myself at Game Informer when this game launched. Everyone already knew that I was big into it, so I got first dibs on the review of it. So this is one of the most special reviews I ever got to write. For Game Informer, gave it a 9.75. And I was playing it and just grinning ear to ear with everything that was happening. And I was typing and telling everybody, okay, this is a game you have to play. Do we want to, maybe we start in the beginning. Maybe we start just,
Because you're at this point, we're just talking about it. So let me go through this nonsense real quick and get through. I have two things I want to say, but let me get through this little mega roll. So you said S tier, and I will talk about whatever I'm going to do. I also played this game the year it came out. I enjoyed it very much, maybe a lot. You guys will see. But Tunic is a 2022 action adventure game developed by Isometricore Games and published by Finji.
They've changed their team name a couple of times. The primary developer is Andrew Schuldice. It was sort of his idea. He left his job to kind of work on this idea of a game about secrets. And I have a really good, just to plug myself again, a really good couple of conversations with him in various Game Informers where he talks about this. And he brought on help later on and really is a very humble human being. So does not like to be thought of as a solo developer because he had help with the music. Power Up Audio was a big part of this game. Audio is a big part of this game. He brought on various different people for music score. He brought on people for level design. He brought on people for marketing. So like, I don't think he sees this as a solo project, but he's kind of the mind behind it. And if y'all are big fans, this might just be the tangent show. If y'all are fans of Blueprints, watch the special thanks in the credits because you will find Andrew Schuldice's name there, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, I do like that. That's very
because the games are very much similar in the way that they approach puzzles and working through the world. So
yeah, very good. Yeah, for them to. Okay. I just pulled this off of Wikipedia. For them to say action adventure game, it's like sort of, but for me, this is 90% puzzle and then 10% action. But anyways,
yes, it is an action. It is a puzzle game masquerading as an action adventure game, and I think, again, we're getting into it before you even tell people what it is. But I think it's really easy for people to play it and never see the puzzle of it.
Yeah,
and think it is an action adventure.
It's the biggest part
of
it,
so
too.
Good. But no, go tell people what it is.
Oh, yeah,
and I'll stop.
No, you're great. You're great. Set in a ruined fantasy world where the player controls an anthropomorphic fox on a journey to free a fox spirit trapped in a crystal. The player discovers the gameplay and setting by exploring and finding in-game pages of a manual that offers clues, drawings, and notes. So now we get to the main part. We've already been going on it. I had something I wanted to say first.
And it's very important.
No, it's not important. You were going off on it. It's so important. You were.
It's the most important thing. It's about blueprints. It's about.
There's so much.
We were talking about another game before that. I don't know if that had to do with it.
I'm gonna just let you go off because I don't remember what it was, and we're in it. We're already in it.
So we were talking about the game as action adventure versus puzzle. We were talking about the game as multiple levels.
I'm gonna let you because it probably was a joke. Half the time it's just me trying to have a dumb joke. So yeah, you go off because we're in this. So yeah, let's go.
We're in it. We are in it, folks. It is time for.
Oh no, I remember. Just a
It's
point
important.
when you were reviewing it.
Yeah.
This is experience. I'm new to reviewing games, and I haven't done it as long as you, and But I've even doing it in the small amount of time that I've done it. I cannot imagine the delight and the
Reviewing this
frustration
game.
of playing
Yeah.
this game without any hints or help or anything.
Here's the amazing magical thing about this game. This game is about a lot of things, and we'll talk about that. But one of the things that I think is most important about this game is that it is about knowledge, but it is about sharing knowledge above and beyond. So in that spirit, when I was reviewing it, there was a reviews only Discord for the channel. And I didn't go into like the secrets. I wanted to get it through myself. But when I finished when I like had rolled credits, I went in and I looked and they were still puzzling out some of the like deeper lore, like the deep lore. And I was
Reviewers, you're
like, I'm
saying,
so in. Yeah, the
right? Reviewers.
reviewers. So
Oh,
this was
okay, very
before the
cool.
game ever came
Yeah,
out
yeah.
that no one else knew about. And we were all, it became a thing of like, we're all in this together. We are working in tandem. Oh my gosh, I just saw this. Oh, did you guys notice that? I have just like translated this. Like, it's wild. And I think that's what this game was meant to be to some degree. It is a single player game. You are just running around as a fox in this world. But I think the way that this game was developed and a lot of the intention behind it was to get to points and share information with people. There was a really amazing moment on the Game Informer podcast. We had Andrew Schuldeis on, and a lot of us who had been playing it or had finished playing it, who thought they knew everything. And then Andrew Schuldeis dropped a note about there is a place in the game that you can find that is, again, everything we talk about is spoilers now. You can change the fox's color. You can change your fur. You can change your outfit. And it's really, really cool. Completely cosmetic, doesn't do anything, but it's a lot of fun. And then there were 3 people in the chat. I was like, I didn't know about that until I started playing New Game Plus, and I fell into it. The person next to me was like, "No way! I thought I was done, and I've never discovered that. I didn't even know that was a thing." And then the third person was like, "Oh, I read about that somewhere." So it was like all the spectrum of what it could possibly be, and that's so much of Tunic is going. It's like you talked about if you could erase your brain and relive something once. It's kind of like Tunic is the opportunity to erase your brain of basically an old school Zelda and play it again for the first time. Um, because that's what this game sort of is the huge inspiration. It's not at all a secret that Tunic is based on old school Zeldas. I think it was originally called um like something secret. I can't remember, but it's in like Tunic language somewhere, I think on the box. But it literally is supposed to be a sort of Zelda looking thing. And that's part of the secrecy, the kind of the masquerade that overlays this kind of top layer of Tunic. So what happens is that you wake up on this beautiful, like the art in this game is so fantastic. It is so perfect for drawing you in and being devious at the same time because it has the look of a game that is an action adventure that is a known, familiar, understandable thing so that you put it in a specific box immediately in your brain. So the first trick this game pulls off is to make you think that there's nothing else to think about in this game. And the first thing you have to overcome, the first kind of obstacle, is your own mind in seeing what you think this game is going to be. Because I've seen so many people look at this game and be like, oh, I'll give that to my like my kids to let them play or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine. They will enjoy it because this game works beautifully on the surface level as an action adventure, Zelda old school like kind of game where you can run around and hit cute things and enemies that are sort of PG-13 and um go from there. And it's a lot of fun. You can play from A to B, you can play the game that way and never know that there is something deeper. The game will probably try to push you towards the idea that there's something deeper, but if you don't turn your brain on critically, then you can miss so much of the magic of this game. Um, I also think it's very hard for me when I hear people say, I'll give it to my kids to play, because so much of this game is reliving an old school Zelda. And if you are a long time gamer, if that is your a hobby that has been yours for a long time, I think this game will be especially impactful because of the things that you know. Like gaming is a language that you grow over time, that you learn to read uh proverbially. And it's so funny because Tunic, as you said, gives you these manual pages. And you get one very, very early in the game, like a couple of minutes in, and you think, okay, this is going to be the thing that's like, it tells me how to do everything. And it is,
Mm-hmm.
but the manuals are all in a gibberish language. They tell you basically nothing. Like there are a few words in English, but there are mostly it's looking at pages and seeing pictures and trying to interpret from there what you might be
Yeah,
seeing.
like a shield, like the fox is holding a shield and something bounces off. Like, oh, okay, so I assume if I hold up the shield, that's how I deflect
Mhm.
things. You know, thing
I've actually
on
seen
the
it's one
surface,
of
that's what it
the
seems like. Anyways, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it seems like. I've seen some really funny things with that first page. It'll show you um to dodge roll and hit A and hold A. It'll say hit A, dodge roll, hold A. And then some people never quite get it. So like some people it takes quite a while to discover that you can run in the game because that is like, but if you're an old school gamer like Mario style, like that's how you run in old Mario. It's just holding down the A button. So there are people who never learned to run in this game, which like adds a little bit to the frustration, but it is perfect as the main intent of knowledge gathering, as the puzzle as game sort of intent of everything is that you should be don't just look at that and say, oh, I don't know what that means and throw it away, because literally everything, it's so wild to go back and look at that manual as you collect it, because everything is in that game. Like shopkeepers have little eyeballs on the map, and you know where the shopkeeper is
Yeah, and then you
because of
can
those
figure it out.
eyeballs. But they never like show you that really. You just kind of like, oh, I get
Yeah,
it.
you
I
got to
can
figure it
see
out.
that.
There's really
And
funny
it's
right here because you mentioned I'm looking at Tracing Threads: The Making of Tunic by Jill Grodt,
hey, that's
May 30th,
me.
2022. And I love scrolling down a couple pictures into this because we're kind of talking about the map and the manual. Is that in this article? There's like the picture of like the main area, and it looks like a 95 instruction manual with like the art and
Yeah.
like the even like the it looks like it was printed on that kind of paper. But I even love on here that it's just like, here's the sealed temple, here's the well, and all this. But even at the old house, there's like in marker, it's like a circled like musical note looking thing in marker. So like someone had a
Yes.
manual and was like, hey, by the way, there's this thing here at this specific point. And it's just the whole. And again, that's the thing. If you were like me playing Zelda back in the day as a kid, I didn't know what I was doing. I was a
It's
stupid,
just
stupid
you're
kid.
writing all the secrets and like, oh,
Yeah.
this is how you
But
do
now
this.
I'd be like, oh, this again. It's just getting smarter, or maybe your brain getting older, and be like, oh yeah, this has more depth, and these things mean a thing compared to oh, I'm just a kid. I'll run around and hit the things because that's what a video game is. But this one's like, yes, you could do that, or you understand because you were alive in the '90s that this is
Yeah.
actually more than that.
On top of that, it gets even more meta. And this is the like you get you've got to open your mind, you've got to really read into things, because finding that there is some sort of written material, like there are handwritten notes on a virtual in-game manual, you have to start to wonder, or you may start to wonder, who wrote this? Where is this coming from? Why am I getting this? And that is spoken to more in the later game, as you find perhaps a different way to end the game than you might first think is necessary. But it is fun in that it is so tightly, the design is so tightly wound around finding these and finding them in the order that you find them, even though the game is it's not quite open world, and it's not quite Metroidvania, because you do have things that you find that open different abilities and things, but it is so it is levels, and there are so many different secrets and pathways within each. Like, it's so difficult for me as a person who just never can choose exactly where they want to go, to like enter an area and be like, oh no, that looks like I could go through it, and that looks like I can go through it, but there is a thing back there, and then I'm like, okay, I'll go right, but I'll remember there was a left path, and then when you go down the right path, then there's like three more paths to choose from. I'm like, oh no, I'm never gonna remember which one. But they all kind of tie back and come back to each other in the most brilliant and beautiful way. Um, so you wake up on the beach. We're back to the
Yeah,
beginning.
we're on the beach. Hey, we're here on the beach.
We're
Everybody.
on the beach,
Stay for the ride.
which in and of itself is a really cute reference to Zelda, because in most Zelda games, Link is known to just wake up, is known to be asleep and wake up, and the journey begins. But it also, I think, ties really well to Link to the Past. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Which is the one with the windfish?
Oh, the one that had Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
Yes, yes.
Which really clever tie there. And Link's Awakening, for anyone who hasn't played it, is also kind of this weird situation where you wake up and you're just suddenly in the midst of this world that seems to be, perhaps it's a dream, perhaps it's not, perhaps like, and so that gives you a clue as to kind of what to expect as you enter into Tunic's world. Is like, no one's explained why I'm here, where I was before I was sleeping, what part of this world am I, how did I get to be here and to take on this mantle of this cute little hero fox. But genius of the design of this game, you never have to like, there are questions in the broader meta sense. It's never like, I don't know what to do, I'm confused. Even though nothing in this game is given to you, like, even when you think you're getting instructions, there's something deeper to understand. The instructions that you do get are in a completely gibberish language. So you find yourself walking up a beach, you pass a platform of some sort that doesn't seem to do much of anything. So you just kind of go, okay, that's weird, I don't know what to do with that. Walk past it, you find an old house, little room that has a sign outside. It's in gibberish. You don't know what it says. You have no idea, but you're like, okay, I'll just go in here.
It must mean house.
And you find a stick. And it's like so perfect. It is so nostalgic. And you're like, of course I find a stick. That's the first weapon. It's a stick.
Just a wooden sword. Yep.
And it doesn't do, like, you don't have it immediately like equip. You have to go into your menu and you put it on one of your 3 buttons, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so old school Zelda. This is exactly what you do. And I love that in every single situation where you pick up a new item, that item is a mystery and a puzzle in and of itself. And I am very anytime I try to give non-spoiler like hints about this game, it's always like, when you get an item, a new item of any kind, and maybe you have some idea as to what it is, maybe you don't, you should always try it, because I think our tendency in games a lot of times, especially now, is like to kind of hoard things. Like, what if this is important for later? Um, but the game does a really good job in rewarding you for using items. So like, and for not and intriguing you into using them. So like, always if you use an item, be looking somewhere where it can fall away from you, because there are a lot of different bombs in this game, and I got blown up by a lot of them. Because
Yeah.
I was always trying the items I got, so I'm like, oh no, that was a bomb, and I'm dying. But the really cool thing, again, spoilers we're talking about, and this is a really cool aha moment in one of the manuals that you get. It has a little tiny like hint about don't worry about using bombs. Maybe try using them as much as possible. So, if you are using bombs enough, when you use them a certain level, you get a +1 to your bombs. So, it's always the amount of bombs you have +1. So, like, you almost always have a bomb ready to go because you've used it enough, which is a really cool way to like encourage people to use their items, because these should not be hoarded. And as a video gamer, Shouldice was making a game for gamers as a gamer. And knowing that that's the sort of way that people like, oh, I need this bomb for the big bad or whatever. I'm not going to use this. But knowing that getting more would be your reward for using them is a great way to encourage people just to try everything and to use everything.
It's
On the
teaching you, like,
Yeah, it's
this is the
teaching you
way
on a
that
really
I'm
great
doing these
way.
things here. Yeah, don't worry about what you think. My instruction booklet tells you, and I'm telling you, this is actually the way that I'm going to do this here. So enjoy that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so enjoy everything that's in the game. The flip side of that sort of encouragement is one of my favorite items in this entire game is the coin. Because when I first got the coin, I was like, I have no idea what to do with this. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's find out. And it was always like that whenever I'd find a new item, I'm like, let's find out what it's gonna do. And try to interpret it. Uh, what happens when you equip the coin and use it? Is the fox will literally take the coin out, flip it, catch it, and put it back in his pocket. And I'm like, what the heck does that do? I'm like, I'm looking at my money source. That's not changing. I'm looking at the item itself. That's not doing anything. And it's not until much later in the game that my brain connected. Well, what would you do with a coin in real life? Like, what are the sorts of things that you might do with a coin? That I was like, no, I've been finding these like mysterious abandoned wells around, and I was
I've
like,
been to the
these
mall
have to be
before.
for
I remember
something.
this. Yeah, you throw
This
these in
has to
here.
be for something. There's no way. This would be so wild if this worked. And I was just like completely ready to be wrong and stupid. And I went up to it and I used the coin and flip, in goes the coin. I was like, no way. And by that time, I'd already amassed a couple of coins. So I could throw in enough coins to get the first reward for flipping coins into the well, which is those little modifiers that you get throughout the game, which in and of themselves, you have no idea what they're for until that moment where you're like, oh, okay. And it's just like, it's a game built so much on secrets, but not so much the secrets as like the journey of finding out what they are and the aha moment. It's so brilliantly
Hmm.
baked into almost every single element of this game.
Yeah, it wants you
Um,
to have the aha moments because, like, talking about these
yes.
items and stuff. The one for me that got me every time was when you would walk because it's all from an isometric view, so you're looking like top down, sort of. And anytime you would like walk behind a thing, and then there was like always a pathway there, and it was always there from the beginning of the game. You just didn't know yet, and that was
Yeah.
always great. Where I was like, oh yeah, look, this literally is a shortcut to the temple that I could have just. This was at the beginning area, and I could have always
Yeah.
done this.
That is really what I think. one of the biggest contributions I think Tunic has made to the overall gaming landscape is the idea of, and I know a lot of people don't like this term, but I'm going to use it, the idea of the Metroidvania, where instead of, oh, I see that thing I can't get up to, that's going to need some sort of hook shot or something. So I'll get that later. The thing that stops you from being able to do something vital in the game or get to or progress in some way is your own knowledge, the player's knowledge, nothing to do with the game itself, which is such a cool concept that I love more and more games are using this, and crediting Tunic as the game that kind of built this idea up. So for Tunic, one of the big examples of this is that very early before you get to the stick and after you wake up is that platform where you just walk by and you have no idea what this does. Um, you will get through the first part of the game. Very easy setup, by the way. Again, playing on that familiarity of as a language and game language, you know what to do. You're on the hero's quest. You're going to ring two bells that will open a temple to do something. And it will show you the first, like one of the first pages you get will show you step by step. Like you go here, you fight this, you ring this bell, then you go here. But it's all in gibberish. But it's like it tells you exactly what you need to know, but not more than that, which
Enough
is
direction with something to go on at the beginning. Yeah.
yes. So you're like, okay, I know where I'm going and I have the idea. And even if you don't really, the design of the levels is so perfect that you are walking and suddenly you find a key and you're like, oh, I know where this key goes because I just found a door that I couldn't open. So you go to that. And so, yeah. Um, when you open that big temple door, you get the really big mystery like the thing that really blows the world open for me is this page about kneeling in the game. And suddenly there's a whole new mechanic and a whole new way to kind of see the world where you can go to that platform or any platform that looks like it. And it is essentially, it works as a fast travel, but it also opens up a kind of secondary plane of existence, which you've seen before only sort of in death. Um, and a lot of things do that where you like, it's a Soulsian sort of idea of like you die and there is something beyond the world sort of bringing you back to life and giving you some sort of resurrection. But in this, there's a whole different plane of existence in this game, which is like both physical and metaphorical. This is where the Tunic that I love starts to open up because you're no longer just like, okay, I go to this old abandoned forest and I fight this guard captain and get this cool like the ability like Estus Flask essentially the healing potion. Because all of that very action adventure, very Zelda. It's like very cool, very beautiful. The music absolutely fantastic. It's like I've never heard music that so felt like dappled sunlight in the forest.
Yeah.
Like they did such a good job at that. Lifeform, shout out to you guys. Um, but this is the first time you're sort of in this situation where mechanically it's a fast travel, but also now you're like, okay, there's literally and metaphorically more beneath the surface of this game than you first understood. And you find, as we talked about, as you mentioned very early, there is a fox, a kind of goddess-like fox, a big majestic fox hidden inside of this prism who cannot speak to you but seems to be in some distress and obviously wants to be released from this sort of prison they found themselves in. So it again is playing on your expectations of what this game is, knowing the genre, knowing what you've done so far is like, okay, this is the save the princess.
Yeah.
sort of
Save
situation.
save the princess from the castle and the or the prison or whatever. Yeah, yeah, very much that.
Yeah. Um, so that's what you go off to do without really considering, wait, why, what, how, but you keep going, and then you start to realize now the world begins to, as you said, looks a little more ruined. Because in the very beginning, it looks very put together. There's not too much going on here. Um, and we talked about this, I think, before we went live, but
Mm.
it's kind of difficult to talk about what the main character is. I usually
Yeah.
refer to it as the Tunic Fox,
Yeah.
or even Tunic
Or
sometimes.
Mr. Tunic, as I
Um,
said earlier. Yeah.
Mr. Tunic. Um, but the actual name of this character, and I can't remember if it's in one of the manual pieces. I feel like it's somewhere in there. But the name of the character is Ruin Seeker. And which could mean I love that it's got multiple interpretations, and I think all of them are correct. That you're seeking ruins as in the world is ruined. It is around you, it is crumbling. This once beautiful West Garden must have been this glorious, majestic place to have been, but it is now crumbling and pillars have fallen and sunken into the ground and water is overtaking things. But it can also be an interpretation of like you are seeking like ruin. You are bringing ruin to something. Like you are a bad and malevolent force in the world, which is such a cool concept. And suddenly it's like, oh, am I the bad guy?
And not
Like,
even knowing it is a fun thing. Like, oh,
yeah,
I thought I was just doing the adventure. No, I am
I was the
bringing bad
hero.
things to these people.
Yeah, what is happening here? Um, and continuing to explore, I think that we talked a little bit about this. I think this is a good time I don't know if we talked about it on recording. But around the time that Tunic came out, another game came out called Death's Door, which is a fantastic game. Everyone should go play it. Um, I think that it was unfortunate that they came out around the same time and people kind of thought of them simultaneously because Tunic is not an action adventure game. It is a puzzle game masquerading as one. So a lot of people did this like either or situation where like Death Doors they liked better because the combat was better. Um, Tunic has combat. It's one of its big beginning bosses is in the West Garden. Um, and I think the problem with if you haven't quite come to the realization that this is not a combat action adventure kind of game, it's a puzzle game, then maybe you've missed some of the puzzle of going into combat. So I think this reminds me a lot of Elden Ring. Like when people first came into Elden Ring, you're hearing how good it is for like new players who've never played a Souls game. It's going to be the best of them, so just go on in. So a lot of them would follow the lighted trail left to like Margit and then just get absolutely destroyed over and over and over again thinking, "Oh, okay, a Souls game's supposed to be hard. This is just me not I'm not skilled enough to do this. I'm just going to jump out." And
Mm.
then having people be like, no, you're supposed to get your ass handed to you, essentially. And then kind of go around and find other things and get stronger and then come back and then be able to beat this character. Um, and this first boss in Tunic works very similarly. In one of the early manual pages that you get, it very clearly states that you should be at certain power levels in order to take on this boss. You should be at minimum at 3 like attack power, 3 defense, 3 magic or whatever it says. Um a lot of people, because they haven't been reading the puzzle of this and they've just sort of been like, oh, that's cool, that's a neat little collectible.
Yeah, collectibles. What I think people assume that it is at the beginning. Yeah.
Yes, like it's a fun little collectible, that they sort of overlook that, so that they miss, again, Tunic so much about looking beneath the surface. Uh, so they miss that not only are they supposed to be this powerful, but they don't even know, in some cases, I've talked to people, they didn't even know you could power up your character because that's hidden from you. It is hidden from you and not shown to you in any sort of straightforward way. You have to be reading the manual. You have to have your brain turned on. You have to be thinking critically about what you are receiving. And the game is so good at lulling you into kind of a false sense of security and making you think that it's another kind of game where it's not making it easy. Whereas like a Souls game is kind enough and straightforward enough to be like, this is dark, this is scary, this is going to be hard. Tunic doesn't tell you any of those things. It doesn't give you any of those hints. So you have to take the knowledge so seriously in this game. Um, and I think also a big part of the boss is just learning like, okay, what are the weak points? What are like any really good Souls game is learning how to read the boss and what they're gonna do and leveling up because this game is so good at having branches upon branches upon branches of exploration. If you like I if I would ever encounter a boss that I was not like, okay, I can get this in 5 tries, um, I would just go off and keep exploring, get stronger, and then come back. Like I I I love it. I really, really love it. And getting through, and you think that the structure again is so Zelda-like because so many Zelda games you have this initial goal that you're like, okay, I've completed the goal. This is great. And then they're like, actually, you spent your time gathering all those gems just so you could go and now you're gathering discs. Now the real game has
Let's
started,
actually
you
play the
know?
game now, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's sort of how Tunic works as well. You get into this temple and you get that page that tells you how to enter into the ethereal realm and how things work, and suddenly more things are open to you, and scarier sort of implications of what is happening in this world are open to you. um I also love, by the way, and I think Shouldice did this on purpose, that there are many times where you can find yourself in a part of the game that you are not prepared for. Like, you will go in, and I think there are a lot of times where people will find the quarry,
Hmm.
which is kind of a later stage. There's no like real way to go through this game. If you want to go through the quarry, you can. But I think a lot of people find it much earlier than is comfortable. And they're like, oh no. So you can kind of like find things out of order. You can kind of like beat the logic of the game. And like, so there is a really cool feeling in this game of like you as a person, as a human being, having agency against the game, which I think is why, amongst a lot of reasons, is another reason why games in general for me, I put an S tier, is because a game that connects directly to you as a human being is beyond the realm of a normal game. You can, like a great game, you can be in and have a great time in the world and have memories and moments and just, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that, but never connect to it on a real human personal level. Like it never, the game never looks at you in the eyes. But Tunic is because one of the major mechanics is literally your knowledge. It is so about you as a person and again connecting you and your knowledge with other people, going back to the schoolyard and talking about like, oh, I found this, or oh my gosh, you won't believe about these wells
I've got
or
these
whatever.
pages. Do you have these pages? That's really important to have. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Because like, even if that didn't exist, this game would be A tier because it is so creative and clever. All of the different levels are so uniquely personalitied. They have like the dark tomb is legitimately scary to me, and finding the lantern in order to get back through it, and then finding like revealing everything and noticing what you hadn't found before, like all of these like little hidden secrets throughout that make you feel really cool when you find them, and just realizing like, what if I went behind this waterfall and there's something, because such a classic, there's something behind the waterfall. That would make it A tier. What I think makes this game S tier is that it's so much about you as a human being, you playing the game, what your knowledge is, what your experiences are, because it is playing so much on the language of gaming. It is a game for gamers, made by gamers. It is meant to mimic the if I could erase my brain and play an old school Zelda again, I would do that. And that's what this experience kind of is, but it also branches out to be its own very unique experience, which is such a cool freaking thing to be able to do. And I love it. And the design
Yeah.
is brilliant and so tight around this central idea of this very, very, you can read so many layers into what is being said on the page of a manual that's not even written in a language you can read. Ah, so genius.
Yeah, I was
Um,
just checking out like some manual pages and stuff, and just like I don't remember what points you find them in here, but I'm looking at page 7, where it's like the one half of the page is the hero, and at the top is just again the same battle fought uncountable times, and the only thing that's in English is heir to the heir.
mhm.
And but then page 8 is the big tall person with the sword like facing
Yeah,
off
that
against
is
you. Like that's
that's a really late
yeah.
like time you find that. And then you're like, "Oh, something's not good."
Yeah. But again, yeah,
Um,
that's you're right. That's the player needs knowledge and the player's understanding of playing a video game and your expectations, and you're learning along with the protagonist on top of like, hey, Adam, this is let's think a little deeper here. Like some of this stuff, but like let's make you think a little harder
yeah.
than me telling you everything. Like, what do you think that Adam, the player? So yeah.
What do you think you know? The game is almost that aggressive too, of like it is actively kind of trying to thwart you with subtle hints the other direction, but like no. So you get past this temple and now the game is it's a whole new ball game of thinking about what's going on. But because you're still in that system, it's still in your brain, it's got you, you're still on your hero's journey. You still continue on. You're still doing what you do. Um, and more you see this world that is broken in ways that are really unsettling. And that really comes to a head in, I think, the quarry, where the rest of the game has had this very beautiful, sort of sunny, uh, running in the fields, going on the beaches kind of feel, but the quarry is overcast all the time. It has a very dark neon purple sort of electric, almost cyberpunky sort of feel to it, where you are walking on these kind of, I don't know, crystals, if that's what you want to call it. There's a power source in Tunic that we have been interacting with and not really knowing, being ignorant of what exactly it is. And we are on our journey to figure out to gain the knowledge of what this is. And so we are following that power source, winding down to find a herd of what the pages call scavengers. And they are like little coyote kind of characters in gas masks. They look foreboding. We are suddenly going from a medieval-esque town world to guns and lasers
So
and
yeah, straight up, these guys
bombs.
have guns and gas masks. They
Yeah,
look like
and
World War
they
II
do
era,
damage.
yeah, bad
Yeah,
guys.
it's
It's crazy.
very World War II-esque. It is very like Industrial Revolution. The plumes of polluting smoke are running rampant in this area. Nothing feels good. It's unsettling what they're doing to the world that you knew. Just the fact that this any of this exists, but some of the like obelisks are these things that you've been kind of praying to as sort of venerable objects are being desecrated. And I feel when I played this, I felt like violated in some way of just like these characters are and it really shows in the design of the game when you get close to these violated obelisks or any of the power sources that are like bleeding this horrible neon purple. Your life, not only like you lose life, but the maximum life that you have starts to go down. And it is a really, really hard level because of that. Until you find at the very end of this journey, at like a little temple area, the modification for a gas mask. And most people still, because we're still not totally trained on what's happening in this game, don't realize what to do with it. So they never
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
on.
put it on. I mean, we know that, but yeah, you don't always
Yeah.
necessarily think to put it on. Yeah,
So when you put this on, you suddenly in the game have a mask, have a gas mask, which saves you from that kind of pollution damage. And so you can get through down to the actual big area of this game, this level of the game. So there's just so much happening. You have no idea why this has happened until you find a way to kind of descend into the pits of this realm and get to see what is really ticking. What is the ticking, beating heart of what is happening beneath the actual surface of this game? And it's one of, I think, the most, I don't know if shocking is the right word, but it's like upsetting. It's disquieting. It is a disquieting moment in a following kind of very disquieting moments, but you descend down an elevator and you're kind of walking through what looks like some sort of machinery, some sort of assembly line of some sorts that are making hundreds of thousands of these obelisks, which up until this point you have seen as sort of quasi-religious, like beautiful power creating source. Um, and you see it being made. And what is the source of the power of the obelisk is a flayed, decimated, desiccated fox skeleton that is glowing with this horrible purple pollution. And it gets boxed up like into the obelisk and like it screeches horribly. It is not happy to be in there. It looks like it's the most horrendous. I can imagine if I was a fox and to see myself like these are my people, like what's happening? So now you have
yeah,
to like it makes you stop for a second. Or some people don't. They just go by and go, that's weird. But if you stop and think about it for a second, it's like, these are my people. This is what is happening to the people around who look like me. And then you start to look at the hints in the manual that have indicated some sort of cycle of heir and heir to the heir and seeker and it happens over and over again. The fight happens every time and blah blah blah. That you realize you are seeking the ruin of your own kind. Like you are bringing ruin to a lot of different things, but mainly what I think of is that ethereal character that we find in the prism back in the beginning, it is your job, you discover, you will fight this person. If you are attempting to win the game, you will kill this person. You will destroy that fox. That fox will then become fossil fuel for this horrendous empire of lies, and you will take their place, and the next fox will wake up on the beach thinking they're the hero and come to kill you so that you can be fossil fuel for this horrendous empire of lies and continue on. And it's just like the most horrendous realization of that's, and it's so designed so visually beautifully, and like all elements come together, music, audio, everything, where you just walk through this, like it's almost Star Wars-esque. It's like a platform that's almost see-through and metal, and it zooms out to this huge scale of this room that's unfathomably long and tall. You can't see the end of it, and it's just crowded with these obelisks that you now know are filled with the death of hope and kindness, and it will be your fate eventually, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just the most gut-wrenching thing to sort of see and to realize if you have kept your brain on and you know what's happening. If you don't, it's just this really weird
It's like, what's
moment
all these
in like,
skeletons
oh,
turning
what's
all
going
this
on
stuff
here?
crazy?
That's kind of weird.
And it's, you can tell
um
me, I believe this is true, that it's
okay.
the foxes were, again, it's the whole like there's a religion, they're trying to like find immortality and power. You know, they're doing like the stuff you probably shouldn't mess with. But aren't the
Mhm.
bodies like from the past and the present and the future? It's like a weird. Isn't there like a time
It's
thing
so
to it where it's
it's
like all of our people are being imprisoned? It doesn't matter if you're 500 years in the past or future. We're all doing it right now or something.
Yeah, there's really no sense of time in this
Yeah.
game. You don't know how often you've done this or it's been done, or are you, again, a really good connection to Link's Awakening where it's like you don't know if you've already been here before and this has all happened, or if this is all a dream, or if you're still in the dream, or like I really love that it's open-ended. There's no real answer to what is truth. There is no what is truth in this game. I have a really fun, and I don't 100% think that this covers everything in the game, but I have a really fun theory that is kind of a la Westworld.
Okay.
That none of the game is real, and the reason that you show up on the beach is because kind of Westworldian, you've been put in this situation to be the hero. Like, I have a lot of really fun scenarios
Mm-hmm.
where this could play out,
Well, yeah,
but
I can see like where the air is. I mean, obviously the air is like trying to set it in motion. So it's like, all right, test number 782, and then it's us starting this version of Tunic or something,
mhm,
right?
yeah. Or I mean, blow that even out. Cast Andrew Schuldice as the evil mastermind who's created this world that is cyclical, that can never end,
Well, now we're going
that you
meta.
are now,
The
that you
creator
as
of the
the
game
player
is the
are
bad guy.
now pushing this through because you want to be the hero so bad. Like, I just love the I love the implications of it. I don't know if it works 100%, but I love the idea. And I love that this is a kind of game that allows for multiple interpretations that are a lot of fun and dark to kind of think about. Um, so that, and then it continues to like have you go through and find things. Um, and this is about the time where you find the last of your, like, the first part of the mission was ringing the two bells, opening the door. Second part of the mission, by and large, was finding 3 gems to unlock the ethereal creature in the prism. My cat's trying to fall down
I
there.
see that. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think this is where you find the third gem that will unlock the now that you understand, like, the bad guy. Um, Or are you the bad guy?
Are we
Like,
both
who
bad
knows at
guys, you
this
know?
point? But you know a big fight is coming. There is also a very interesting divergence in this is also where you start to become aware of one of Tunic's most perhaps infamous but famous puzzles called the Golden Path. And if the Golden Path is not the best puzzle I've ever seen in a video game ever, I have never played a video game in my life. Like, so instead, for me, instead of wanting to go immediately and unlock the air and go to that fight, um, I am now sent on a mission to discover the truth behind the Golden Path, which, by the way, just really funny because again, this game is all about um, being a gamer. And of course, the Golden Path is a very widely used phrase to mean the main part of the game's main
Yeah. And the
like
golden path is absolutely
mission.
you doing the most that the game wants you to possibly do.
So you start the Golden Path, or you can start the Golden Path. It is connected to a door in the mountains, high in the mountains. It doesn't. You've been past it before. It's one of the ways to get into the quarry. You have no real idea of how to do it. Um, and you don't like the only real hint you have is on a page with you looking stumped, looking at this door. And I cursed Andrew Schuldice so many times looking at that page because I was just like, he knew exactly what we were going to be feeling when we're looking at this stupid door. He knew it. Um, and so if you don't get the idea of what's happening, you need a certain page to kind of understand. You need a page in the manual, which you won't get until a bit later. So you just kind of have this image of you staring at this door and being angry. Um, so at some point, you're like, okay, let me just go see. Maybe something I need is with that person. I will unlock them and see what happens. Um, and this is a moment that is really pivotal for um, a lot of people missing. Um, there is this game, fantastic, brilliant. There is a assist mode in this game, which allows you to be unharmed in combat.
Hmm.
You become essentially immortal. You cannot die. You will win. And you can turn that on and not have to face the struggles and learning and the knowledge of beating your bosses. That's 100% fine. If that's how you want to play the game, you should play the game that way if that's how you're going to have fun. I think that this is a level of the game that Shouldice built so that you could go to other people and talk to them and be like, "Oh, I beat the game and it was fun." And then it would be like, "Did you do all of this?" And they're like, "No." So the amount of times I've talked to people and asked and discovered that they used this for the last boss and have missed essentially half the game is
It
wild.
is a lot of the game
Yeah. And it's a
afterwards. Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of the important parts of the game too. So what happens when you go to beat this boss? You are not strong enough. You are not meant to be strong enough. A lot of games do this very in the very beginning of the game where you are supposed to die and then get resurrected and then go from there. This game does it at the very end. You are supposed to die to this boss. And when you die to this boss, you lose your corporeal form and you rise as a ghost. Everything gets dark. It's nighttime. It's rainy. It's stormy. And you see the ghosts littered through the realm of dead foxes who, like you, have no idea sort of what's happened and have little things to say. Sometimes it's in gibberish again. Sometimes they say things outright and point you in a different direction, and you can go to a whole new realm, the cathedral and a graveyard, and find the ultimate way to get your body back and come back to life and all of that. But so many people will miss this part of the game in particular because they're like, "Hey, I'm just gonna not deal with the boss. I'm just gonna put on powerful mode. You kill the boss, you see the end credits, and you're like, okay. And Andrew Schultes is so devious. You could literally believe that this is the end of the game and not know. And it's such a good way to get you talking about what you have or have not seen in this game, because this is so, like, you're learning so many different things about how this game works, what the world is, what the lore is, in this. It's so disturbing. You go into the cathedral, there are foxes that look exactly like you. Up until this point, you haven't really seen any of that, but they look exactly like you, but they're zombies. And they have no
Plays into
brain.
the whole, yeah, is it a loop? Or you just, yeah. I mean, because, yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
You don't see them and then they're just all you, which is
And
crazy.
then it's all you. It also plays into the idea of like keeping your critical mind open, looking and reading, and not being enslaved to the ideas that you're being fed by this overarching organization of the powers that be, whatever they may be. We can discuss that and debate what those are, but these are enthralled in a way where their mind is 100% ensnared in this system and can never break free from it. And you have to then kill them. And it's kind of upsetting to have to destroy your own self, and go through all of that. But you make it through, you get the ability to go back to your, like, you get an item, which is so important. I don't know why I'm being cagey about what the item is, since we've already like
Yeah, we can
destroyed
just talk
so
about
many
the item. Yeah,
spoilers.
yeah.
But it's like, it's a laurel wreath, which is so cool because it is not a crown of gold. It is not some sort of treasure. It is a laurel wreath, which is given in sign of victory, but essentially a worthless item typically. Um, it is meant to crown achievement. It's meant to crown knowledge. Like the laurel tree is the tree of Apollo. Apollo is the god of knowledge and wisdom and that sort of thing. So digging into all of that. So again, this game is about venerating knowledge and what you've been able to achieve. So you get this laurel wreath, which now allows you to like dash, but it's not really a dash. It's like a teleport. It's like a teleporting dash, which just changes again. You're like 75% of the way through this game. And now you can see it in a whole new way again. You can go to any place that you've been before and navigate the world in like there are shortcuts you never even imagined were there, or secrets you could never have gotten to before, which allow you to get the last page that you need in order to accomplish the golden path. And I don't even know if I want to talk about how you solve the golden path because I just so much don't want to spoil that
Yeah.
for anybody listening. But I mean, there's just so many cool things about what this is and what it does and what it takes from other games in like gaming history. And I love it so much. And putting all the pieces together are amazing. And once you get that, because it took me a long time to sort of like, okay, so what do I see here? I see this. What could this mean? Why those specific things? Why would this be like this? And then to realize the pattern and be like, oh man, this is it. This is amazing.
See, I appreciate
Uh,
you because as much as I play this game, I've watched the video after I beat the game. I've never myself done the golden path thing, and like,
mhm,
it is. Yeah, congrats to you for
wild.
actually doing it. It's
It's
crazy.
so wild. I think there were a couple of times where I could not figure out exactly where things went, but I think the one of the big things for me to help sort of connect the dots, there is a moment in this game, and I don't know exactly when it happens, but when you come back, like you'll have quit the game and like gone eat dinner or whatever you do, and then come back to play. Um, and you'll come back in and suddenly have like a save slot that you never had before that was not you. And then when you like go into it, there's nothing to do in it. except run through like a hallway. And it's just like the weirdest, mysterious thing until much later when you finally like, oh God, oh, I know what it is now. Um, so yeah,
Y-
it's just so much fun. I
You,
think also,
okay.
oh, go ahead. No,
Oh, just another thing that I do love is that the whole the idea that the instruction manual seems like a collectible, but then it's actually once you fully build it out and you use it, it's like, oh, this is the way to like break the cycle. Actually, like this is the way to actually save the world. Is like,
this is, yeah, it's you literally your gained knowledge and crucially sharing it. I want to talk about that, but just we have looked over one of the best, like one of the easy things to talk about in this game as to like how your actual knowledge works in opening up the world. Um, we've talked about that with the platforms, which you can pray at. Another one that's really amazing in this game, and again, please go play it. Don't let me spoil this for you. Is called the Holy Cross,
oh yeah,
which
we haven't even
I
mentioned the Holy
always
Cross
thought
at
was
all, huh?
connected. I always thought was connected somehow to the cathedral. That makes sense. Holy Cross Cathedral. And you do kind of learn about it in that area, I believe. It took me a really long time, most a longer time than most to realize that the Holy Cross was referencing literally a piece of equipment in your hand. Um, but the idea behind the Holy Cross is that you can use the D-pad at any moment, and there are puzzles littered throughout the game in plain sight. 100% you'd be able to see them. Once you recognize the patterns, you know what to do with them. That open up the world. You can find fairies all of a sudden are in the world that you can find. You can open treasure. You can open doors that didn't open before. You can find all these secret little trophies, and just read the world in a totally different way. There are in the manual, you can find little handwritten notes about how to give yourself free items. You can give yourself free life. Like, it's such a cool thing. And to the Holy Cross being the D-pad.
Yeah, it's just like the Golden Path thing. It's like, oh, the Golden Path. We know what a Golden Path is, but then Holy Cross. Oh yes, if you played NES, you know that that's what you call the
Like,
D-pad. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
it's such a like great callback to the Konami code, essentially. Um, but just it's so good, and that was there the whole time. You just didn't know that it existed until you knew it existed, and that's why that knowledge that's again, this game is so, I think, foundational for the idea of having knowledge be the answer to opening up the world. It connects you as a human being to a game in a way that it really doesn't you don't get a lot in a lot of games. So
It's like
this game's so
Blueprint.
good.
I mean, you talked about like
Yeah,
Blueprints
it's
was
very
inspired or
Blueprintian.
gave credit to this, but it's like, oh yes, like there are things from the very first day in Blueprints that are like, oh, that's a thing important for the actual ending, by the way. But it's
Yeah,
there, but I'm just you don't have the
didn't
knowledge.
know
But once you
to
know the
look at
knowledge,
it.
it's like,
Yeah,
oh yes, clearly this is all this. Yeah.
I'm so excited to see this get played with more. Um, there is a game called Echo Weavers that is coming out at some point in the future. I don't think they have a date yet. Which also talked very specifically about Tunic being a reference point for this idea of knowledge unlocking things in the world. And now anybody using that it will never not be a draw for me to be interested in a game because it does speak very specifically to something that really pushes you to think about things, to really consider what you're playing versus, sometimes you do want to play a game that's just, I want to turn my brain off. I want to just not exist in the world. And I think to connect it to things that are going on, the world right now is hard. The world right now is horrific. I wrote about this to some degree on my website, connecting it to Tunic because this game is so important in the context of a authoritarian sort of regime that wants you to not think and to be like those foxes in the cathedral. They want you to follow blindly with no thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think Tunic is really the game that gives me comfort and helps me in times of harshness like this, because it reminds me that there is so much power not only in knowledge and collecting knowledge and keeping your brain on and making sure that you're reading and having that media literacy and not just being, you know, under like accepting everything that's coming into your brain, of questioning and and having all of that, but also sharing it with people, sharing your knowledge, coming together as a community and being like back to back with each other, so that when you get to the end of this game, as you kind of alluded to earlier, there is another way to win the game. Instead of challenging the character who is now menacingly wielding this like huge sword of death, you can come up to them having completed the manual, and following the golden path. You can go up to this character, and instead of a sword, you have in your hand this manual, this in-game manual that you have collected from back to back, and show it to them. And you both sit down and you look at, this is a cycle we have been in. We both understand this world was created to cause us to fight each other so that it could use our suffering as
Literal
some sort
fuel.
of fuel.
Yeah, literal
Yeah.
fuel. Yeah. Hmm.
And that we don't have to, we can find another way. We can change the way that we approach the world and we can break this cycle. Um, and then the end of it just being all of us doing cute little, like, we're going fishing together and we're watching TV together and just and the world being so different than if you decide to end the world by taking your place in that prism and letting the next thing kill you. Um, it's so beautiful an ending. I I literally like I it is I tell people that I was going to go on the show, and they're like, "Oh, so you're going to talk about Tunic." And it's like it's almost a meme at this point that I will talk about Tunic given the chance. And I thought about it when you asked me to come on. What game do I want to talk about? And being conscious and maybe a little self-conscious about the fact that I'm so known for my love of Tunic, that I'm like, maybe I'll pick something else. But it's just like I can't think of a better game to talk about in general, but at this particular moment in time where we so all need to come together and just keep holding on to that knowledge that we have, that I couldn't pass up talking about Tunic and my love for it and why it deserves to be like an SS tier game. Like it is so beautifully, like from every element, like design wise, visuals, audio, like everything that went into making this game, the intentions behind the game, the puzzles in the game, like anything kind of surrounding it in any sort of way. It's just unbelievably beautiful to me. And I always feel uplifted thinking about it or playing it.
I know. I'm very happy that you brought this one because if it's a meme or not, it was a good. It's a good game to talk about, and
Mhm.
very knowledgeable. I think Joe. I think you know a lot about this game. I'll just say that you've got some interesting thoughts about that here.
Wild.
That's very good. Is there anything you want to do before I head to our closing, where I've got some write-ins, and we'll eventually put it on the list wherever it might end up. I don't know, but we'll see. But is there anything before we move to that section?
I don't think so. I think
I think we
that
covered
is
a
a
lot of
good
it.
I think that's a good representation. I'm gonna like remember, oh yeah, there's that one part I wanted to talk about, and then I'll have to like make my own video just talking to myself.
Like, by the way, this is it. But all right, very good. So I'm going to read any listener thoughts. Again, you can go to patreon.com/the tier list, or, wherever you find this podcast and show, and you can leave a comment and talk about it. I have a couple write-ins here, two that I'm going to read. Let me pull up my socials. First over here, on Blue Sky, Cozy Bear wrote in, my personal favorite game of 2022, loved its deceptively somber and bleak atmosphere, as well as finding and assembling all the pieces of the instruction manual. The latter made for a really cool metagame. And then Matt Storm over on Patreon. Yeah, Tunic is one of those games that that is just so special. Few games capture a sense of adventure and wonder like this game does. Also a 10 out of 10 soundtrack all-timer. So again,
Yeah, no, for real.
oh, it's excellent. So yeah, you guys can go out there and go to Patreon, or you can go on social media and write reviews. I let some of these are a little pre-recorded, but just pay attention. Maybe there's a thing that you can get your voice heard on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and move us to our official tier list ranking screen, where there is me and you. We've got our little icons for our shows here, and where are we thinking about putting on the list based on your feelings and kind of we talk. I'm thinking you're leaning B, but I'm not entirely sure. You're allowed to tell me what you're really thinking on this.
Yo, if there was something above S, that's where I would put this.
S
But
plus.
S plus.
All right, yeah, I already know. I'm going to put that in there for you. The funny thing, Jill. So then again, this is episode 5 of season 1, and we've had a lot of cool games on here. A lot of things that either were brand new to me or things that I already liked and already played. And it was like, thank you for picking that one. But I have not given a single game an S tier yet. We're on episode 5. Hasn't happened. Let me tell you, history is being made today. Yeah, this is an S tier game. I am similar to Cozy, who wrote in earlier, because we were on the same. That was Respawn Aim Fire. We were doing Game of the Year over there. And that was also my Game of the Year for that year. Because I was like, oh yeah, this game is magical. It does, just... It is unlike anything else. But I'll just read really quick what S tier means for this list. Masterclass in gaming. This tier represents an all-time great, something easily recommended to all gamers. Pinnacle of a genre, top 25 of all time, and near perfect. Could describe games placed here. And yeah, not only was it my game of the year, but I think if you want to, you don't even have to put the whole indie thing on it if you don't want to. But I'm like, if there's an indie game, I would absolutely recommend. This would go on the short list of that. If not just games in general. So I'm like, if I would say this is a top 5, if you're the indie game of all time, like how it has to be S tier. If it's a top 5 anything, it has to be an S tier, regardless of how you want to qualify it. So I'm like, yeah, that's an easy S tier. That's not even a question for me either.
I don't think I could ever really honestly do a top 5 games. I'm like, it's so subjective to like what I'm feeling at any given particular time. So I'm fairly terrible at doing those kinds of lists, but Tunic would always be there no matter what. No matter if we were talking about indie games or games in by and large. Like, this is such a beautiful, masterfully done game. 100%. Tunic S.
Yep, we have both an S tier. But again, now it goes to you, audience. You can, again, go to patreon.com/the tier list, or in the description of this episode, there will be a straw poll link where you can vote where you think this game belongs on the tier list. So make sure to go do that and go vote and all that stuff, and see where, if it ends up as an S plus or maybe just an S. I think it's going to be hard for that to move, but you can vote. We can see what you guys think about that. At the end of the season, I'm going to average the scores that me, you, and then the audience gives, and that will determine where it all goes. So again, it's very important for everyone to go vote to see where this actual list ends up. But yeah, there we go. Both as S tier. Again, Jill, thank you very much. I'm happy to have you on the show. We're good buddies. We hung out with a hot dog man in Seattle.
The hot dog.
I think about that dude all the
He's
time.
so good. So fantastic.
That's an inside joke just for us. But yeah, Jill, I like you a lot. I like the Indie Informer. I like you as a person. Thank you for coming on the show. If you want to give any of your fun plugs before we get off here, feel free.
Yeah. You can go find all my work at theindieinformer.com. We just had a new reveal of a new voice who is helping write, whose name is Hayes Madsen, who just wrote about Cairn, which is a very interesting game that's come out this week, as of recording, I guess. Uh, so yeah, you can go check that out. You can check out my Tunic as Resistance piece is up also on the website. You can check out the Indie Informer on Blue Sky at the Indie Informer. I am also on Blue Sky if you want to just follow my stuff, and that's at Finruin, Finruin. We do have a Patreon, but I usually forget to plug it. So Patreon / the Indian Farmer.
Yes, I am on that Patreon, so everyone check that out. But again, thank you once again. This has been awesome. Been a great guest. Thanks for being here
It's
on
been
season
amazing to
1.
come on.
I'm glad. I was like, listen, is Jill going to have anything to talk about? This is going to be a 15-minute podcast. I'm like, no, thank you for giving me just like the deep, especially because you got an interview. It's so cool. They're so cool. Thank you for bringing this.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I'm talking way too much, but
No, keep
no, this is
going.
happening.
Not enough. I started out with the, everyone you start a thing, it's like it'll be this time limit, and I'm just like, nah, it doesn't matter. Just do whatever. It's all good. This is good stuff.
Yep.
We can keep on going. But again, thank you once again, and have a good one, y'all.